So you want to know how to write a hot doo-doo garbage characters that will make people think your characters and your story belongs in a hot dumpster fire? Then you've come to the right person. I'm Matt the Creative, and I've invested hundreds of hours into learning the art of creative writing, and I've discovered easy ways to make your character a pile of horse crap. But first, let me tell you about a movie I liked when I was younger, The Force Awakens. When I first watched this movie, I actually really enjoyed it. For me, at the time, it was a really fun movie, and it kind of got me into Star Wars for a little bit. But as I rewatched the movie with a more of an understanding of storytelling, I began to find a lot of flaws. Rey is widely known as a Mary Sue slash Gary Stew or a character who is good at everything and never really seems to struggle in any meaningful way. Like when she and Kylo Ren, the main antagonist of the first movie, in their first encounter, despite all the buildup that he had of being like the next Darth Vader and a Sith Lord, and so on and so forth, he gets turned into a complete jobber because Rey closes her eyes and says, "Nah, I'd win." And as a result, the entire trilogy suffers for it. Kylo fails to create any tension in any more scenes he appears in because he's a total fraud. He lost to some random girl who picked up a lightsaber like a day ago, and despite being trained by a Sith Lord, he still just loses. And we don't get to see any depth or complexity from Rey. It makes her feel more stiff. And as if that wasn't enough, just because she takes no L's, we don't actually get to see her change in a meaningful way or develop as a character. We don't get to see what makes her tick. We don't see how she reacts to pain, loss, because she just wins, which is the number one way of how to create a terrible character. Have no meaningful struggles or setbacks. Just let your character breeze through every problem like it's an isekai anime, and I'll guarantee you'll have a hot doo-doo garbage, terrible character. Nothing, and I mean nothing, makes me put down a story quicker than a character who has no skin in the game. You can throw in all the action. It can be a literal war that decides the fate of the multiverse. But if your character has no motivation, no desires for anything, then this is the single easiest way to make your story feel hollow and soulless. Look at any competent story in fiction, and you will immediately be able to point this out among all the characters. In Lord of the Rings, Frodo wants to take the One Ring to Mount Doom to destroy it to save his friends from the Shire and the kingdoms of Middle-earth. In Star Wars, Luke wants to travel outside of Tatooine and see the galaxy, something beyond his boring and dreary life. Luffy wants to find the One Piece and become the king of the pirates, so on and so forth. People only invest into stories when the characters of said stories are like them in some way. They need to have wants, needs, values, and circumstances that drive them to pursue what they believe is right for them. Then you get the second way to make a terrible character, and that is that I'm going to have no goals that mean anything to them personally. Now, have you ever been absolutely bored to death by some of the characters while watching a show? I sure as hell have, and I hate to say I've seen it too much. Now, I definitely bring it upon myself because I am an enjoyer of isekai animes, and because it's also kind of my job to go through a bunch of stories. But for the love of God, I cannot stand characters that have no edge. This bland ass, no seasonings and food ass characters, dull inoffensive characters who try not to rock the boat in an attempt to be liked by audiences, will only have the opposite effect for your stories. And it's the easiest way for you to create a terrible character and ruin the entire story. The number one ultimate sin of storytelling is having a boring story. Your story cannot be boring. Your world building might be ass, your setting generic, but if you can properly engage and entertain your audience, it's fine. You can get away with nearly anything with creative writing and fiction, but having a boring character will literally spell the demise of your story so fast that the Flash himself won't believe how fast your audience puts down your story. So that's it, guys. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and sub and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.